So, hello everybody, this is Georg from Serenity, and you are listening to Brutally Delicious, the main and one and only online metal show in the US.
Beautiful.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
All good?
I am doing well. Where are you guys at? You're in Germany?
I'm right now in Austria, in Innsbruck here, where I have my office at the university. So in the back, you can see my office, yeah.
Are you a professor?
Yeah, for history, medieval, early modern time history here, especially for Tyrolean history.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And a metalhead on the side.
Metalhead on the side, exactly. So,
or whichever, maybe professor on the side, who knows?
yeah. To be honest, financial wise, I'm more metalhead on the side.
Well, cool. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, I'm also really happy that you take your time to ask me some questions.
Oh yeah, I've been listening to the new single and love it.
That's great.
It's so, I don't know what the word is. Like, it's very well produced, but I like that it's so upbeat and inspirational.
That's cool, man.
What's been the response to it so far?
The response is really fantastic. Some people already wrote us that this is probably the best song Serenity ever did.
Really?
But it's always a matter of taste, for sure. So let's say I'm really happy with it. It's exactly the style of music I love, because I'm a big fan of old stuff from Meatloaf, and I'm a huge fan of Camelot, especially the older stuff from Camelot, and I'm a huge fan of Avantasia, also here, especially the older stuff. So this is exactly somehow in this direction, and that's the reason why I really love it. But to be honest, I love all 3 singles so far a lot, and I don't know why, but it seems that the press is really loving the whole album.
That's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, sure it is. Because, for example, with the last album, The Last Night, there were really positive vibes, but also some who said, okay, I'm a bit disappointed. But right now, for this album, there are only positive feedbacks, and so this is really fantastic.
So that's a tough thing you bring up. So how much time do you put into, or how much of your mental space do you give to the people that don't like it or that pan it, or do you consider any of that, or do you just let it go?
To be honest, it depends on the day.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes I have really a feeling, you know what, fuck off, and I'm really angry because somebody's writing, yeah, it's okay, but I'm sure you could do that better, and I'm a bit disappointed. Right. And I say, yeah. Then sometimes I really say, fuck you. And sometimes I'm really nearly writing him and telling him, in which band are you playing? In no band at all. So, you know, sometimes it's the same. I always love when I read reactions, for example, when the people are always complaining about Lars Ulrich playing drums in Metallica. And they always say he is not a good drummer, he is shitty, But people out there, he is playing, and he is together with James, the main man in Metallica. So
the biggest metal band in history, right?
Who cares?
Right. He's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, exactly. So, sometimes you don't give a fuck. Sometimes you're a bit angry about it. But in general, thanks God, most of the feedback is really good. And people who don't like it, they just don't have to listen to it. Point. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I think the internet and social media has given everybody a platform now to just weigh in with their unprofessional,
And
nasty
everybody
comments just for the fuck of it, right?
And everybody's a specialist nowadays.
Right.
Everybody on every topic is a specialist.
Right. Yeah, you have a keyboard and a monitor, you can be a specialist in anything you want.
Exactly. That's the thing.
So when you guys are writing this record, are you all writing together, or is it more the efforts of one particular member?
Now, we are 3 songwriters in the band. Mainly it's Chris, our guitar player. Then it's now Marco as well, our second guitar player, and it's me. So we are writing separated from each other, but then we also write together. For example, especially I'm writing some stuff with Marco, then I'm writing some stuff with Chris, but both of them are also delivering ideas they did completely on their own. And then we have a pool, let's say, with 15 to 20 songs in there. And then we really check out our favorites, mostly 10 to 11 songs. And these 10 to 11 songs will be sent to Sasha Pitt, our producer. And he is not really completely producing it in terms of that he's changing everything, but he's telling us, listen, guys, on this song, for example, are you sure about this part? And then we listen to it again, and then we say, okay, you're right. Or we say, no, we're completely sure it should be like this. For example, on Reflections AD, Sasha was not completely sure about the chorus. And Marco and me said, no, come on, it has to be this chorus. And then he said, okay, let's try. And when he heard it in the finished version, he said, okay, guys, you were right.
Nice.
So, yeah, but mainly it's us 3.
So I know this record, I'm reading the bios, it's definitely influenced by the painter. I'm going to probably butcher this, but Dürer? Is that how you pronounce it?
Dürer.
Okay, close enough.
Yeah.
Is it a concept album, or is it just influenced by it?
It's not a complete story. That means that the story is not starting with song 1 and ending with song 10. So it is completely inspired by the life of Albrecht Dürer. The song titles are all paintings or copper gravings by Albrecht Dürer. So if you Google Ritter, Tod und Teufel, you will find the copper graving called Ritter, Tod und Teufel. If you Google Son of Justice, the song title, you will find also a copper graving or painting by Albrecht Dürer. So this is the connection, but it's not like the first song is his birth and the last song is his death. So, yeah.
What was the reason to do that? Are you guys just all fans of it, or how did that come about?
Also, this is quite easy to explain because it's exactly the period of time I'm teaching here at the university.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so the last album, The Last Night, was about the Emperor Maximilian I, who spent a lot of time here in Innsbruck, in this town I'm sitting right now. And Dürer was one of his painters. And for example, the oldest picture or the oldest painting of Innsbruck we know was done by Albrecht Dürer. And it's exactly this period of time I'm completely into it. The 15th and 16th century is exactly my time. So that's the reason why also other albums like Codex Atlanticus are about or have been about Leonardo da Vinci. Then Lionheart was about, really big surprise, Richard the Lionheart.
Right.
Yeah, and so on and so on. So it's really, really amazing for me to combine my 2 passions, music and history.
That's great. And so it like doesn't end, right? You're just moving, you're constantly in that time period then.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So
are you guys planning on taking this on the road?
Yeah, for sure. Right now, on the 25th of October, we are starting a bunch of release shows. Then we are doing some support shows for our friends in Powerwolf. And then we will play
Love those guys.
Yeah. And then in December, we're gonna play free shows in Japan. Then in January, we're gonna do the 70,000 tons of metal cruise.
So I'm always on that. Have you done that before?
Yeah, we have been there in 2017.
Okay.
And so this year or next year, we are on it again. So we're gonna meet each other or not?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I do podcasts in the press rooms the whole time we're there. So yeah, I'm there every year.
Okay, that's cool. Let's have a beer together there.
Yes, the first beer is on you.
Oh, it's okay. It's fine. This is fine. No, and then
There's
we're
nothing
gonna
quite like 70K, right?
Yeah, that's true. And then we're gonna do a 3 weeks headliner tour for Europe with Temperance as special guest. And
I'm talking to them in the next 20 minutes.
you see. And then there's also, for example, we have a support band from the US. Do you know Tulip?
No.
Okay, but they will be supporting us in Europe. So I think it's their first tour in Europe. So I think
so. You guys are getting ready to be pretty busy.
Yeah, true, for sure.
That's good. What's it like being? I know we're removed a couple of years now, but do you prepare differently for hitting the road after post pandemic?
Not really, because it was quite funny. We were one of the last bands who were able to finish a tour before the pandemic entered, because we released our album last night in January 2020. And then we were touring together with Rage, a co-headliner, double headliner tour in Europe for 3 weeks. And I still remember when I was sitting in Milano in the nightliner, I was reading a newspaper, and then there were some news like, okay, there are some special disease coming up here from some people, but I did not really take it for serious. I said, okay, who cares? But yeah, 2 weeks afterwards, there was already a lockdown.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you don't even take that into account now. You're just back out and playing, and
exactly.
So after that tour, the record is out in November.
Yep.
Are you guys one of those bands that's always writing, or is it you write and then tour and then start the cycle again?
Yeah, it's more like this, because we all have other bands as well. For example, Chris, our guitar player, is playing in Beyond the Black. Then Marco is having Temperance. Then Marco and me, we are having another project called Fallen Sanctuary on AFM Records. And
Jeez.
yeah. And then my brother is also having another band called War Kings. So yeah, quite busy, let's say.
Plus your regular full-time job. So I don't know how you keep up with all that.
Yeah, I think there is a reason why I'm not married and I have no kids so far.
Fair enough, but at least it keeps you busy and out of trouble, right?
True.
When you guys are writing, is this going to be like a theatrical sort of thing as well? Because it kind of lends itself to that, right? This the music and then now the topics. Is it going to be a theatrical stage show as well, or no?
I mean, for sure, we try to add some musical atmosphere in there, but for sure, it's really tricky because it costs a lot. I would love to have a show like Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I would love to tour like they do, with fire and with a huge LED wall.
Yeah, because I think this music lends itself to that. It's very, very theatrical and very motivational and passionate. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But that's the point, On the other hand, you need a lot of money to make it happen. And on the other hand, if you do such a huge show, then for sure, probably more people will show up. So, yeah.
Right.
So
maybe not, because you have to jack the prices up to pay for that kind of tour, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Ticket prices are insane the way they are right now.
Yeah. True. But show is, I think, extremely important nowadays. I think the days are over where you can just go on stage with a jean and that's it, with jeans and that's it, and t-shirts.
Right.
So you have to entertain the people, and so we are working on that, but only in our budget, let's say.
Right. And touring is super expensive nowadays too. I mean, with the gas prices, and you see people like Anthrax canceling whole tours, and
Yeah,
they're not able to keep up with, gas prices or diesel prices. And
exactly. You don't want to know how much the Nightliner will cost us, for example, for the February tour. You don't want to know at all. And it's just possible to tour because we are 4 bands in one Nightliner.
right.
So we can share the costs and so on, because otherwise,
Right. It's not affordable.
we would be fucked.
Right. And then here, I don't know if you come across this, but I've been seeing stuff about like venues taking merch money. I mean, taking percentages of merch, and that's crazy. That's like your lifeblood right there, right?
This merch split shit is really a huge problem. I mean, it seems that some companies are now rethinking it, but let's see.
I wasn't aware that was going on until a few months ago, but that's been a thing for a while.
I knew it. I experienced it already, I think 7 years ago in Italy, when we played a venue called Alcatraz. Probably they showed up and told us, by the way, 25% of the income plus VAT on top goes directly to us. And then the best thing is, we went out of the venue, and there were people just there selling merchandise from Serenity we have never seen. Completely black market there.
Right.
And you cannot do anything about it. Nothing. They sell your t-shirts with your logo, with your artworks, and you don't. The only thing you can get is that you go to him or to them and tell them, okay, listen, guys, at least we want to have some free t-shirts.
Right. God damn, that sucks, because I mean, they're already taking money from you guys, or you're not even making hardly any money on the Spotifys and all the other stuff. And then they're taking it from the back ends at the shows. That's horrible.
Yeah. That's it. That's really horrible.
And that's why bands can't afford to get out there and do this.
Yeah, sure. But that's life.
I guess the music business has changed. You know what you mentioned?
Giving up is not an option. Giving up is not an option. So,
but you mentioned Lars Ulrich earlier. He was like a prophet early on, right? Because he was the one that was fighting Napster back in like the late 90s or early 90s or whatever. And everybody thought he was crazy. And then here we are.
Yeah, and here we are. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. I mean, you heard that several times, I think. For sure there are advantages, but also huge disadvantages. And the thing is, I don't get why it's not possible to pay a fairer price. Just a bit, because
maybe you should get 25% of their beer plus VAT.
Yeah, exactly. But Spotify and so on, I always think myself, okay, if somebody is paying 10 euros, or I don't know how much it is exactly in dollars right now, a Spotify abo, but and they are just listening to 5 bands, why is it not possible to pay this 10 euros only to these 5 bands the guy was listening to? I don't get it. Why this is such a huge problem. But
the distribution of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fucked up. So what do you guys have next? I know you said you got the shows coming up and the record release. You got anything before then?
Not before, because like I said, on the 25th of October, we are already starting. So we just prepare ourselves for this. We rehearse. We have to produce merchandise and everything like this. And
go see those guys outside the show. You might get it cheaper.
Yeah. True. And that's it. And next to that, we all have to do our main jobs until then, that at least you don't have to think all the time about your main job when you're on tour. So we have to make.
You're actually fortunate enough where you can do it with your main job, right? Because lots of people can't, and they end up doing the weekend warrior thing or whatever.
That's true. I'm really lucky and happy that I have here conditions at the university where also my colleagues and so on, they are telling me, okay, where do you go? And how was it? And I just checked something out on Facebook, and this is really cool and so on. And if you need help because you have to go away and there's a group of students and so on, then let me know. I will help out. So this is really cool here.
Beautiful. And I think, are they metalheads?
There are some metalheads, yeah.
Because I
but
think the metalhead community is definitely supportive of everybody.
Yeah, sure. But also the others who are not metalheads, they listen to it because they got to know it from the newspaper or just because somebody was telling them. And then they always telling me, okay, this is metal. I always thought metal is heavier than this is, you know. And I said, yeah, this is a special kind of metal.
But yeah,
but this is a special kind of metal. So
right. Well, cool, man. I appreciate you taking the time.